Today I'm really excited to actually share with you one of my favorite hairstyles that I actually do a lot on my brides, and that is the Hollywood wave. Very Kim Kardashian inspired, and I'm going to actually educate and show you exactly how to make this hairstyle last longer, fuller, and make it all pretty using the right techniques and the right products, and the right tool. So let's get started. Firstly, just to let you know, I've actually shampooed her hair with our Head Muk shampoo. Now, I use this shampoo to make sure that the hair's not too soft. It gives it a little bit more grit, gives it a little bit more jeopardy to actually make it last longer. I do highly recommend this shampoo for down styles. You don't have to use it so much for up styles, but definitely for down styles. Second product that I'm going to use on her hair today is Fat Muk. Okay, the Fat Muk, it actually gives it a lot more fullness and a lot more hold. I will spray that in the hair, on dry hair. And before I do go on, with the conditioner, I have used our Fat Muk volumizer. So once that is actually sprayed in, get your blow dryer with no nozzle and dry it in. So everything that I do is dry styling. I don't do any of my hairstyles, especially my bridal. I don't do anything wet. Okay, so always make sure you prepped your hair on your client really, really well. So 2 shampoos, conditioner, you use your Fat Muk spray first, and your second product, which is my last product to prep with, is our Head Muk dry shampoo. Amazing. Again, everything that I do with our hairstyling is always with dry shampoo, okay? So when you've actually, just go through and root straight to end. Don't worry about focusing on the root, focus all over, because you want to give that hair a little bit more grit, especially if the hair's really fine and very silky. Let that set, and then just dry it off. You can actually feel that the hair is a lot thicker and more gritty. It's an amazing, it's like I'm feeling different type of hair. So just brush it back in. Now I'm going to share a nice little tip with you. What I love about this hairstyle, there's no bobby pins involved whatsoever. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do with her hair, I'm going to actually part her hair in the middle and slick it back behind her ear in the back of her neck with an elastic band. So she's going to have a ponytail, so we don't have to actually use any bobby pins. Okay, to slick the 2 sides down together, I'm going to use my Slick Muk. I love this product, but it does give you a wet finish. So we're going to have a wet finish through the front area and a dry Hollywood wave at the back. So this is my favorite product to pick up. You want that hold and you want that wet finish. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I always tend to use my 2 fingers and as a guideline, and I separate the front. I do that with the other side. Do make sure that the hair is parted in the middle correctly. You can do this with a side parting as well, but being a Kim Kardashian sort of inspired Hollywood wave, I do like it in the middle. Okay, so as you can see, I've just taken the 2 front panels away. Now before I start doing anything, I'll actually get my Slick Muk, and you can actually see it gives it more of a sort of a polished look. You don't have to use any hairspray if you don't want to. just enough product to give you a little bit more control when you're actually tying this back into a ponytail. You can use a little bit of hairspray or tend to use more product. It's up to you what you want to do. Okay, so now next step, I'm going to straight away put a long clip there to hold that in so I can actually do the other side. You can take the thickness of the front thicker if you want. It's entirely up to you, your preference and the client. Just make sure you consultate with your client, and it all comes down to the thickness as well of the hair. But definitely my favorite product to go to is our Slick Muk to give it that beautiful polish and shine. So we've half prepared it, and you can actually start seeing that we've already got that ready to go. So next step. Very easy, very quick, guys. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a butterfly clip and pin that, clip that away, just like that. Okay, I'm going to use a hair elastic now. I actually like the thicker one. I don't like to use the finer one because I actually do get scared that it will actually break. Now, give it a little bit of a stretch. Next step is, and I'll show you now, grab 2 pieces. Once you've grabbed it, you can actually unclip your sectioning clips. If you wish to clean it up just in case, you can. You can actually put it over the ear or behind there. It's entirely up to you. Next step is grab it as tight as you can, as low as you can, and do a ponytail. This way you don't have to use any bobby pins whatsoever, and this will secure her hair all day and all night. And there you have it. Just like that. And all you have to do now is let go. And she's done. And you can actually start seeing now. No bobby pins are used. You can go through now and slick that back if you more add hairspray. It's entirely up to you. And if you want to be really creative, everyone, you can actually even do some braids there at the front too. You know, actually that's more of a formal, sort of very boho, more of a beach bride. But more for elegant bride, definitely I will just keep that very simple, very slick back. I'll add a little bit of hairspray. Always use your working spray. Never use your lacquer, because if you make a mistake, you can always brush it out. Can you see how we've automatically just put some shine on there? Some clients don't want it too wet, so always use you get your best tools on your hands. So hairspray your fingers if you want, just to clean up any flyaways. And there we have it. She's ready to go to be done. So the best tool for me that I recommend for a Hollywood wave, a real strong Hollywood wave, which is very sort of inspired by a finger wave, but I'm going to turn it more into a bigger wave, is the conical, the large conical. So with this technique, I will be twist winding it. So I'm going to give you a close-up and personal view of how to do this technique, because there's a lot of people are not very confident with this technique. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, after this segment, if you have any questions, just make sure you type away and send me a message. Okay, so let's go ahead. So always make sure you do use your gloves. Again, with this technique, if you wish to give it a little bit more grip, you can put a little bit of your working spray and then brush it through. It's entirely up to you. The good thing about the working spray, it actually can be brushed out and it just gives it a little bit more grit. But please make sure you do use your dry shampoo, because the dry shampoo will definitely give it a little bit more hold and more jeopardy for that. Because she's wearing a hairdo for maybe over, 15, 16 hours. Okay, so I want to, if you wanted a Hollywood wave with no body whatsoever, hold your angles on 45 degrees. But because I want a little bit of height, and because she's going to be wearing a veil, I want to make sure that the veil's not going to actually jeopardize of making it collapse. So always hold your angle 90 degrees, okay? Now, with your parting, you can take about 1.5 inches in sections, but always make sure you do hold your sections 90 degrees. Now, if you find that her hair is actually not cleansed properly because she's actually washed it at home, or you find you've got that fear that it's going to collapse and you want to give it a little bit more grit and hold, don't be afraid to add the dry shampoo on the hair, in the root area. And that will give it a little, so that hair can never get oily later on. Or even if it's a humidity day, it will actually help it prevent it from collapsing. Okay, so I'll get you guys to have a look up and close on how we're going to do this technique. So we're not flat winding, we're actually twist winding. Okay, so what that is, hold it at 90 degrees, hold it as close as you can to the end of the base of the handle, and you basically twist it. Twist it. Don't flat wind it. Make sure those ends are actually wind through as close as you can. Hold it for 2 to 5 seconds, roll it in, put your hand on top and slide it out. And then with a section clip, clip it. What I love about this technique, you can actually take wide sections. So again, we're not doing a finger wave, guys, we actually are doing a Hollywood wave. Something very soft and pretty, a bit more classic and and modern at the same time. So again, hold it in and twist wind it. Twist wind it. Hold those ends in, make sure those ends are right through, wind it as close as you can to the base. Hold it for 2 to 5 seconds. With a glove, hold it and slide it out. And clip it. Don't disturb it. Okay. Now, because you are twist winding, everyone, the heat gets trapped in those ends a lot longer. So you do need to make sure that you do let it cool down for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Very, very important. So I'm just going to go through the whole and start winding through. But again, take big sections. You can brick wind if you're taking wide sections. But if you're going to do this and you want more definition, I would recommend you to do a directional wind. Don't do a brick wind. So guys, I'm just going to continue doing this. So continue twist winding, making sure you do wear a glove and mold those ends through. Slide it out, don't let go, and always use a long sectioning clip to secure it. So we're on our last 2 panels now. So again, always hold it 90 degrees. Using your large conical, hold as close as you can and twist winding. Now again, we're not doing finger waves, guys. We're actually doing a Hollywood wave with a twist wind with our large conical. And don't be afraid to put your hand over the tool. You won't burn yourself. Okay. So I like using the twist wind because you can actually get more definition through it, and you do get longer lasting, especially with fine hair. It definitely lasts a lot longer. So everything that I'm actually sharing with you today is for longer lasting, definitely for anyone that's getting married early in the morning. Now, what if you can actually start seeing now, we're actually at the base now of the ponytail. So now we're going to twist wind the ponytail. I'll just separate that because it's a bit thick. But if you really want to secure and be confident for that wave not to be disturbed ever and not to drop, twist winding is actually my best tip that I can actually share with you for a Hollywood wave. Don't flat wind, because it is impossible for this type of curl to collapse straight because we're twist winding, where a flat wind has got the ability to collapse and drop a lot quicker. Okay, so I'm just pinning my last one through now. I'm just going to hold this. So you can actually start seeing, now again, because it's twist winded, everyone, you have to do remember that you need to let it cool down because it's trapped inside a lot more. So if you really want to speed things up, get your diffuser out and put it on a cold shot. But if you haven't got time, if you do have time, let it cool down naturally for 10 minutes before disturbing it. Okay, I'll see you soon. So I'm going to speed it up with using the diffuser. Always make sure you use your cold shot button, okay? You don't want to put more heat on it, okay? If you wish to set it a little bit more and hold it stronger in the root area, it's a really good tip that I can share with you. Always spray the root area now that it's pin curled. And then straight away dry it in. Cold shot it. Okay, so I'm going to let that set for just a couple of seconds. While that's setting, I'm going to start explaining to you that the best comb to start off to actually comb this out is a big basin comb. Do not go straight into a small comb. You won't be able to comb that out. You'll actually find it will get knotted. So always to separate it, always start using your fingers, and then we're going to start using the basin comb. And the smaller the comb you go to, the more polished finish you want. But I do want more of an organic sort of wave with this hairdo. So I will be stopping with the basin comb, and then I'm going to show you how to put more definition and longer jeopardy by molding it in later on with the tool. Okay, so now we're ready to take the pin curls out. Now, the biggest tip I can share with everyone is you're going to do this one by one. Don't tack it out all at once. Work from the bottom and work to the top. So just have a look. Again, if you need to ask me any questions. So I'm taking it out without disturbing it, and I'm just dropping it. I'm going to be grabbing those ends, and then all I'm going to do now is grab a comb and just comb those ends. And you can actually start seeing the wave, okay? Don't disturb it. So because you're twisting it, you have to unwind it now. Unwind the twist. So just get the ends of a comb with a comb and don't disturb it. Okay, next one. Untwist it. You can actually start seeing, can you start seeing the wave come through, guys? Again, this is not a finger wave, it's a Hollywood wave. Big difference. So it's a more of an open curl. And just separate it with your fingers without disturbing it. Okay, so we're just on our last one now. Again, use your comb and just stretch it out. You can see how deep it is by twist winding it through. So once you've done that, this is when you pick up your large tooth comb and always start from the ends, okay? Never start combing it through the top, always from the ends. So very, very gently, I'm gonna hold my comb directly straight. I'm not gonna hold an angle because I find that I need to get those teeth really touching that scalp to get that waterfall finish, okay? So very gently, start combing it through. And you'll actually start seeing, can you start seeing the waterfall wave come through there? So just be really gentle. You can't rush this, guys, but please always use a large tooth comb. You can start seeing the wave come through. So start from the bottom and always work from the top. Sorry, always start from the bottom and then go to the top. That's right. Don't be afraid to comb from underneath, and you can actually start seeing the wave come through. Yes, it does look like a finger wave, but it's a lot more wider and a lot more softer. My advice is if you do want a finger wave, everyone, don't twist wind it, flat wind it. Always use 90 degrees and take fine, fine sections. Not like I took big sections here, okay? Your sections are very important, how wide you take them for what result you wish to do. Okay, so you just keep on continuing, comb that through to every panel, every section meets. You can actually start seeing the wave come through. So I like to separate it and get all those sections blended through with a large tooth comb. I think she needs a haircut. All right, so I'm going to stop now with my large tooth comb. Again, don't stop till you know that you're happy and the client's happy. You'll know when to stop. Don't be afraid to comb through. Again, don't be too vigorously combing it through, because the reason why I was saying to you before, always hold your comb like that, not down, because when you hold it on an angle, everyone, you will drag it down and pull that curl down. So you actually will lose fullness, okay? So, and you will pull the curl out. So always make sure the comb is sitting horizontal like that. Down. Don't never down like that on an angle, okay? Now, once you are finished and you are happy, hypothetically, this is a little trick that I love to use. Drop your temperature to 170. Okay, so always make sure you drop it. While that's cooling down, you can always, if you wanted to get more of a polished finish, you can go through and actually get more of a polished finish to get those flyaways. It's entirely up to you. It's your decision of how polished you want this, okay? Never brush it. A lot of people tend to brush. I don't like brushing it because I find it actually pulls out the curls. And I still want that beautiful soft finished. I don't want it perfect. If you want it perfect, guys, keep on combing. It should take at least 5 to 10 minutes to comb this out. But I don't want a perfect look. I want more of an organic finish, okay? So now, because I really want to make sure this holds really, really well, okay? Biggest secret I can actually share with you right now is this. We've dropped the temperature now. Have a great look. So wherever there's actually a bend in the hair, get your tool. Don't be afraid and just push it in. Don't do this because you're actually widening and stretching it out. So hold it in and take it like that. And it will actually, what it does, you can actually see straight away what it's done. It's just helped hold that waving longer. So all the flyaways, it's a good way to actually smooth out flyaways as well. You can see what just happened. You can actually see there's more definition. See all the flyaways down the bottom, watch them disappear. And there you have it. So I'm going to continue doing this throughout, and then I'm going to show you a great way how to, if the ends are sort of very, very flyaway and brittle and wispy, I'm going to show you a technique that will actually make the hair look thicker. So, nearly there. Another really good tip to actually remove flyaways on your client's hair without using hairspray. You can lower your tool and just very lightly, just on the surface, just go through and just mold those like you're kissing it. Just be very gentle because you don't want to collapse the fullness, okay? And you can push that in. It's a really good trick that I can share with you to remove any flyaways. But can you see how the waves now are a lot deeper? And they're not going nowhere anywhere soon. Now, to really put a little bit more deepness and support through this, you may get a long sectioning clip, like this one, a long one, and upside down, back to front, clip it in there. Can you see what it's done? It's actually given it a little bit more support there. So always make sure it's back to front and support it. You can actually start seeing that it has a lot more deeper wave. Back to front. And then once you've done that, very lightly hairspray it and straight away diffuse it immediately. Don't let that hairspray sit on the hair because it will collapse because hairspray goes on wet. Down, very, very gentle, just unclip it. And that just gives it a lot more support for that deep wave not to collapse. And there you have it. How beautiful is that? So guys, that's a twist wind with a large conical. As I said to you earlier, as I promised, a little trick that I want to share with you today is how do that looks amazing, but how do we clean that up? The best thing I can actually share with you, always dry shampoo your hands. And then dry shampoo, don't use hairspray, dry shampoo it. Those ends. And very, very gently, and what you can do if you want to, so you can put that clip back in there if you want to, just to give it a little bit more support. Just be very, very gentle by holding this. What I like to do is grab a teasing comb just from underneath, because I always get questions, Liz, I can do the finger wave, but the ends always look separated. How can I make the ends don't look so frail and separated? Because obviously we can't go ahead and cut our client's hair. The biggest tip I can share with you is grab your section and your texturizing comb, back comb it, push it up gently from underneath, not on top, because you don't want any evidence. Okay, you can start, and then very gently start with your fingers, mold that through. And actually start seeing how that now those ends start pulling through. So that's the biggest tip I can share with you. Don't use hairspray, use your dry shampoo to give it a little bit more texture and more grit for those ends to hold, but always back home from behind, not on the top. Okay guys, so we're at our end with our Hollywood wave. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as I've enjoyed inspiring you with this. Again, this is definitely a bridal hairdo, which I tend to do a lot, and it's definitely on trend right now in the bridal in our wedding market, with all our brides wanting something modern and vintage and classical. And a lot of brides, I do find they're actually wanting their hair down now. They're not so much going for up styles. But anyone can do a finger wave or a Hollywood wave, but the technique that I've actually showed you today is to make it last for 18 hours. It's not a hairdo, it's not a styling session that for someone just to last for 4 or 5 hours. It is for over, sometimes 20 hours. Sometimes this hairstyle has to be done at 4 a.m. for me, and it has to last to midnight. Okay, so the technique that I've showed you today is my way of making it last longer, and guaranteeing my work as well. And that's really, really important, especially when you put your name on, you're branding your name on this hairdo, and especially on, especially when there's a wedding of 300-400 people. You don't want the bride to be walking in with flat, eventually look like a beach wave. So, what I love to finish this off, always love using accessories. So I decided today we're just going to put a nice little headband on her, just to finish her off. So I'm just going to finish it off. So once I put the headband on, remember, if she was getting married now, the veil will go on first and the headband last. Okay, so, and there you have it. Our beautiful Hollywood wave inspired by Kim K. Slick mark, tied back in a ponytail. Used your large conical, twist wind. All our prepping was done with our fat mark, dry shampoo, and our working spray. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed session number 2. Stay tuned for session number 3. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do yet, but I just want to say thank you, and I hope you're all safe. Bye.